I'm here to introduce the fabulous Andy, who is a proud member of one of my chapters, so rock on, yay, I'm so excited about that.
Thank you.
You're very welcome, and you're working WOAMTEC because you visited a lot of chapters. You're a very bright woman. Tell everybody who you are and a little bit about what you do.
Okay. My name is Andy Tolbert, and like Kathleen was saying, I teach safety, but I teach safety as kind of a whole package. I do teach gun safety for those people that are interested in learning how to shoot. I teach ladies-only classes as well as mixed male and female classes, but I don't want to push something onto you that you're not interested in. So if you're not interested in learning about carrying a gun or learning how to shoot a gun, we have all kinds of other classes and products and tips and techniques for you as well.
That's awesome. Kiki, I think you need to get her out to Texas. Let's figure out a way to make it happen, because I have a feeling there's probably a few Texans that are out there that could get excited about a gun safety class. Just guessing, not being stereotypical, but just guessing. Andy, tell everybody a little bit about what are some of the statistics or what are some of the important things that criminals look for that we could better prepare ourselves to protect ourselves?
Okay. Well, a really interesting study, somebody actually went into the prisons and interviewed a bunch of inmates, specifically rapists, and they said, what did you look for in a victim? How did you decide it's going to be that one, not that one today? And some of their answers were really kind of shocking. So let's see if you know some of these.
Oh, no.
Okay.
Put me on the spot. Put me on the spot.
Okay. What time of day do most rapes and attempted rapes occur?
What time of day do most rapes and attempted rapes occur?
And if anybody that watches TV, we all know this answer, right?
Okay, I would say during the day.
Isn't it
daylight?
Isn't it at night?
At
Don't
night?
go out alone at night.
Don't go out at night. See, I'm gonna say I
guy.
don't do well in test on the spot. Okay,
That's
at
okay.
night. Don't go out at night. Okay, that makes
wrong.
sense.
Nighttime's absolutely wrong.
Oh, okay.
5 a.m. to 8:30 a.m. is the #1 time.
Just when I run, right? Perfect.
Exactly.
Perfect. Okay,
Exactly.
go ahead.
So we'll talk about that, but that's a whole other story. Where do you think the #1 location for a rape abduction is?
My guess would be a park, maybe a public park. No.
Grocery store parking lot.
Grocery store parking lot's very
It's
interesting.
the #1 location. I think there's probably a few reasons for that. When we're at the grocery store, we're coming out, we probably are fumbling with our keys in the one hand
very distracted.
and the groceries in the other and pushing a cart and maybe on the phone, and we're just not paying attention. And in the morning, maybe we haven't had our coffee yet, we're not all the way coherent.
Or we've had a whole lot more than coffee. No, sorry, just kidding. The grocery store, I am very distracted. I usually am, especially because my cart is usually overwhelming and I don't know where I'm putting groceries, and I've often thought like I'll throw my wallet or my purse on the front seat as I'm loading things, so that makes a whole lot of sense. Thank you for sharing
So it's the exact opposite of where we think, oh, I'm out here at 11 o'clock at night, I need to be extra on guard, and that's actually, I'm not saying don't be, don't misinterpret, but that's not when we really need to be the most careful.
Wow.
We need to be careful all the time.
Absolutely. What are some other things that we should take into consideration that we might not be aware of?
Well, one thing that I thought was really interesting that came out of these interviews is only about 2% of these inmates carried a weapon when they were trying to commit their crime.
So how did they do it? Like, what were it's just forcefulness or fearfulness?
Intimidation, fearfulness. Usually, we have small female, a large male. There's the size factor. But the reason that most of them do not have a weapon, and this is the one thing about our criminal justice system, the criminals know it better than us non-criminal people. The sentencing for rape with a weapon can be as much as 15 to 20 years, whereas rape without a weapon can be as little as 3 years.
Oh my goodness.
So the weapon is what makes the difference in what they're sentenced with.
Wow. Wow.
They know that, so they don't have a weapon. So the good news is, if you have any kind of weapon at all, you now have the upper hand on them because they're not expecting it.
Okay, so what would you recommend if there's a woman, I know you recommend, you teach gun safety classes, and I know that there's a way to have a concealed weapon without having a holster on your hip, like back in the old days or whatever. What would you recommend for a woman who said, you know what, I'm open to it, I'm open to gun safety, I would like to carry concealed weapons so so I have protection in case of an emergency? What would you recommend?
Okay. Well, the first thing is find out what your state requires for the actual concealed license. And in some states it's a license, some it's a permit. That's kind of a technicality. There's going to be some minimal training standards to get your license. That is not enough. If you're actually going to carry, I recommend taking ongoing advanced trainings. I still attend trainings, usually once every month or every other month. Besides all the ones I'm teaching, I'm out there trying to learn new skills as well. So you've got to be, the old story of, you never forget how to ride a bike, that's baloney. Because I didn't ride a bike for like 20 years, and I tried to get on one, and I was like, I used to do this, really? So you cannot just take a class and expect that 10 years down the road you're going to be prepared for something. So ongoing training. As far as options to carry it, there's on the body and there's off the body. A lot of women think of a purse, carrying it in their purse. If they're going to, it needs to be a special purse that's designed to carry a handgun. Otherwise, you're going to be fumbling in, it's turned itself around, you're not going to grab it right when you really need it. So get one that's made for it. But that is not the recommended method, because what if they take my purse?
Right.
Now they have my weapon and me.
Right. And so, it's not their weapon, so I'm sure there's a legal loophole or something around that scenario.
Right. So on the body carry is the best. There's lots of options. There's inside the waistband, where it's actually tucks in your belt, in the waistband of your pants. There's all kinds of cool corset holsters and thigh holsters. You can get as sexy as you want, ladies.
Giddy up, Big Daddy. You'd probably like that, Jeff. I'm going to be packing heat. No, just
there are some awesome options out there. But I actually am carrying right now, and I'm in what I would say tight-fitting jeans, just a nice tight-fitting tank top, a nice tight-fitting jacket. And even if you're going out in the evening, there are still carry options. So where do you think I'm carrying right now?
You need to ask them that question, because I already know the answer to that. So, Veronica, did you see where she was carrying?
I did.
You did?
Cheating.
You've been cheating. You've been cheating. Okay.
Cheating.
I would have normally have guessed either on your ankle, or I would have normally guessed in your waist. But I was shocked when you revealed to us where you were carrying. So you don't have to reveal it.
I'm not going to literally reveal, but we'll kind of figuratively reveal. I'm carrying what's called a flashbang holster, and it actually sits right here, tucked underneath the bottom band of your bra. And you just pull your shirt up, which is the flash part, and then you basically, it's right there, flash bang. And honestly, this sounds really funny, but the flashing motion is going to distract them. They're going to be like, whoa, I'm attacking you, and all of a sudden you're pulling your shirt up, what's going on? And in defense training, that split-second advantage of your distracting them with the flashing part could give you the upper hand in this altercation. So I'm carrying right there.
I think that's awesome. I think that's great. I'd worry about shooting my foot, but I think that that's fantastic. No, I know that there's training for that and safety for that, which is important. I know that you had some alarming statistics that we might not realize, and I would love for you to share, because I think that sometimes, you know, we think it's not going to happen to me, it's going to happen to somebody other than me, or we might not realize how frequently it happens. It doesn't happen in my neighborhood, you know. And I know that just this last week, a teenager was abducted that they still haven't been able to find. And I'm sure there are other situations that don't make it that far to the media that happen every single day. So what are some interesting statistics that you would like to share with us?
Well, by the way, Kiki, I do realtor safety classes as well, because realtors put themselves right there in the line of danger every day. Okay, they take strangers into homes, in their car, people they don't know.
I think that, okay, so Kiki, now you really need to get her to Texas just to keep your community safe, just to keep your realtor friends safe. That's awesome.
So the FBI has a website called the FBI Crime Clock, and what it does is it kind of counts down how many crimes are happening. So in the hour that we've been here together today on WOAMTEC Live, there have been 2 murders, 7 forcible rapes, 30 robberies, 100 aggravated assaults, which means with some type of a weapon, 180 burglaries, and 60 car thefts.
Wow.
I know.
That's huge.
Really, and unfortunately, I get a lot of calls from women after something's happened. Oh, I got robbed 2 weeks ago, I need to buy pepper spray. And I'm like, yeah, you should have called me 2.1 weeks ago, and we wouldn't be having this conversation.
So being proactive, and I know that I mentioned that I purchased some things from Andy, and I know that there's a lot of people that are out there that travel, and those of you that know me know I travel a lot. Tanya and I frequently stay in hotels as we're doing conferences around the world and around especially the United States, and one of the things that you have is you have a cool little thing that I purchased for you that attaches to the hotel room door. So because there are ways, and let me tell you something, just recently we were at a hotel and it was locked. It had the top lock on it, and we had adjoining rooms, and somebody shut the bedroom of our adjoining rooms, and my son was locked in the other room, and we couldn't get it into it because the door was locked and the top lock was on. And security came in, they came up, and they have a credit card trick that they know how to slide in that door and pop open that top lock, and they were able to get in the room like that. So you need to be cautious that even if you think you're safe because you have that, you need to be aware. So what are some of the things, what is the thing that I purchased for you for when I travel in hotels?
So I don't have the attachment that you're talking about, but what this is basically a personal alarm The good thing about this is a lot of high schools will not allow pepper sprays or stun guns or anything for students. So this is something they can take. And I'm going to hold it well away from our microphone. Basically, when the pin is pulled, it's a super duper loud alarm. We do not want to blow your eardrums out. And it has another attachment that I call tweezers. And basically the tweezers go in the door frame. And if the tweezers open, like if somebody opens your door, the alarm goes off.
Okay.
And I have had somebody walk into my hotel room before, down in the Keys at 11:30 at night. Luckily, my husband and I were still up watching TV. If we had been asleep with all the lights off and somebody walked in, it could have been a completely different outcome. But since we were awake, we're like, oh, that's weird, get out.
Right. Especially if they had been drinking and it was late at night and they crawled into bed with you. You know, who knows what could have happened. I love the fact that you just showed that, because I purchased that for my kids too, for no other reason than when if for whatever reason we get tied up, especially if school's happening and we lose track of time. It's only like a quarter of a mile to the end of the road where the bus stop is, but there have been a couple occasions where Jeff or I wasn't able to meet the kids at the bus and they end up walking home by themselves. I want to know that if someone pulls over, starts asking questions, it's going to be okay. So I've trained them to pull that, and I've trained all my neighbors, because we have a very close community here, I've trained all my neighbors to, if you hear that noise, go outside, because there may be a problem with one of my children. I've also trained them that you only pull it if there's actually a problem, which is important. But it gives me a little bit of comfort knowing that if there is a problem, at least get on my radar and, you know, get outside to make sure everything's okay. Because trust me, it's loud. It's definitely loud. Now, I mentioned that I run in the morning, and I know I've purchased a product for you for when I run, because, you know, one day it was kind of dreary. It was like a little eerie outside. There weren't a whole lot of people out because it wasn't a bright, sunshiny day. And I thought, oh my goodness, I'm a little scared. Like, I'm nervous for the first time ever when I was running, because anything could have happened to me, and there's enough trees around that I could have been raped. Something could have happened to me. So you sold me this fabulous product to use when I run. If you know a runner out there or a walker out there, this may make a great birthday present or a holiday gift or something like that. Tell us about this product.
So this is our Jogger pepper spray. And basically it's a Lycra glove, so it's nice and comfortable. I mean, you can't even, once you're running, you don't even remember it's there. And the pepper spray is attached right in the middle. So you're out running, you don't need to worry about gripping something, you don't need to worry about reaching for something. If you need it, you literally just close your hand, pepper spray is lined up, and sorry.
Okay, that's okay.
So without demonstrating on you, because it is a real pepper spray, one of the biggest things is people always ask, how do you use pepper spray? And it comes out in kind of a thin stream. Think of your Windex bottle. You've got the thin stream or you've got the wide spray. We actually have both products, but this is a thin one. And it's short, it's not much, it's very small and compact. So if I just spray it in one place and I empty the canister, I might have just missed you. So the big thing is you want to, there's a couple of different things, either do circles around the attacker's face or go ear to ear, or some people do the Z. But what you want to do is keep it moving, because if you keep it in one place, you could have just missed with the entire canister. So you want to keep it moving, especially if there's more than one attacker, you want to be spraying back and forth between both of them. Okay. But this is nice and convenient. And
I love it, and you're right. And it comes in different colors. So if you want to just go with black or something simple, then you can. Now pepper spray. You mentioned that. I know I lost my pepper spray because I made the mistake of taking it to the airport. Not a really good idea. So I lost my pepper spray. They confiscated it. But you have cute little packaging for that. And who would you recommend use pepper spray, and how would you be prepared, like at the grocery store?
So pepper spray, and this is mine that's on my keys, but it comes in all kinds of cute colors nowadays. The old days where you had your choice of black and pink are gone. I've got camouflage, we've got zebra, we've got pink and purple and blue. This is the one I carry. And literally as I'm walking out of the store, because we already talked, grocery stores are the #1 place, I open it up while I'm still in the store, I make sure it's all lined up, I unlock it because they do have a little locking mechanism, and I walk out with it in my hand. And this does not look weird. I have my keys in my hand, I'm walking to my car. It makes total sense. And if somebody did anything, it's ready to go. When I get in my car, since nothing's happened, right? That's my goal in life, is to have no testimonials for any of my products. Wouldn't that be cool?
That would be awesome.
So I get in my car, I lock it up. Lock the door first. That's the biggest mistake, is people get in their car and then they start fumbling with stuff and their doors are still unlocked, and somebody can either hop in with them or pull them out. So lock the car door first, lock this down, and then drive away.
Okay, I love it, I love it, I love it. Now, some of you know that we live in a neighborhood with bears, and when you see a really big bear, one of my neighbors just posted on Facebook the other day, she was freaking out because there was a bear that actually had went through the bathroom door into her garage. Somebody had left the bathroom door open and was in the garage, and she was just freaking out. Like, how do you get a bear out of your garage? It's really hard. And how do you do it before the bear does a lot of damage in your garage, before Wildlife Patrol or wild
Fish and Game
come to get you? I guess I should write that down, because if there's a bear in my porch, I'm not going to know who to call. I'm going to call wildlife. You have a product, and I wouldn't say to go out trying to attack bears, but in an emergency, you do have a product that may help. And what is that?
Well, it's actually a Guard Alaska bear spray, and this has been tested on the big grizzlies that are in Alaska, and our bears here in Florida are way more mild than the grizzlies out there. But the biggest difference is, look at the size difference in the canister, because a bear is going to need a much larger dose. And this entire can actually empties in just 7 to 9 seconds. So it's a very big, fast dose, because we're talking 400-pound bears. So you've got to have something nice and large. The nice thing about our pepper sprays, and all pepper spray on the market, not tear gas, but actual pepper spray that are made from the hot peppers, they do work on animals such as dogs. So again, if you're out jogging, it might not be a bad guy attacking us. It could be a dog.
A wild dog or something. Yeah, absolutely.
Or the neighbor's dog that got out.
Right, absolutely.
I know on my bicycle I've been chased by dogs several times.
That makes sense. I bet they'd only do it once.
Yep.
Now, what is that last thing that you have there?
Well, we have a couple of different stun guns. And what a stun gun does, there's two different things on the market. There's a stun gun, which does...
Okay. Oh, wow. So it looks like a flashlight, then.
Yep. Well, it is a flashlight, too.
Okay.
It's got you can kind of see there. It's got a flashlight. This is a cute little lipstick one. Has a keychain, nice ladylike. And what this does, basically, sends out an electric charge.
I felt that up here.
As our hair goes.
Yeah, exactly.
And basically, when your attacker comes, the sound alone will scare a lot of them off. They are not looking for a fight. They're looking for an easy victim. It's not going to be you, okay? That's your #1 goal in life, is do not look like an easy victim. So basically, wherever you can get them, you touch this to them. And have you ever unplugged like your laptop and you accidentally touch the metal? What happens to your body?
You feel a shock.
You jump back.
Right.
Your body instinctively jumps back from that. So that's what this is going to do. It's electric. They're going to jump back. If you hold it on them longer, they actually will feel more effects and actual like loss of muscle. You know, they can't keep attacking.
Right.
And if you, poor Tim. There is a video on my YouTube of my husband Tim actually being a guinea pig on this one for us. And I said, oh, I didn't think that went very well. Let's do a retake. And he's like, no. No, one was enough.
That's awesome. And if they wanted to see your YouTube page, what would they do?
Femme Defenses.
Okay, can you spell that for us?
F-E-M-M-E, Defenses.
Okay.
Plural with an S on the end.
Okay.
But the stun guns come in all different shapes and sizes. This is another one that goes on your keychain. They pretty much all have some type of a flashlight. You can kind of see here. And I like you guys seeing that charge. Can you see that? Okay. And again, just like we talked about with the pepper spray, I can have this in my hand ready to go with my keys, just walking out of Walmart, and nobody knows because it just looks like I have my keys in my hand. This one I really like because it has a built-in charger, so there's no cords to lose. It's just kind of, can you see there?
Right, absolutely.
It's just built right in. Because I lose cords all the time. And then if you've got a guy in your life, or Kiki, this is the one all my realtors love. This is actually just a nice, really heavy-duty flashlight.
It looks like a flashlight, absolutely.
Well, because it is one.
It is a flashlight. It is a flashlight. I'm afraid I'm going to do it.
Okay, so up one notch is the flashlight.
Okay, there's a flashlight.
Oh, now you're on strobe, which we didn't even talk about. Strobe,
That's
actually,
cool.
If you shine that in their eyes, it actually disorients them. So basically, it's a super bright flashlight. You can kind of, don't shine it in your eyes. But it's also a stun gun built right into the head of it. So for the man in your life, they love this. Or if you go out at night walking the dogs, you can actually put it in a little holster right on your belt, so it's nice and convenient. So
and you know, it's pretty solid. So that one right there, I think, I always have the fear that I'm gonna have to get out of my car in an emergency, but that's so strong that that might even help you break a window or something like that.
Well,
so you can use a
absolutely.
safety device, but it could be something that you can store in your car.
Right. We have one in each of our cars because if your car ever goes in the water, which for some reason here in Central Florida seems to happen all the time, all of our power windows don't work and you can't get out of your car. So you could actually use the end of this to break a window to get out.
That's awesome. I think I might need to order one of those too. Well, thank you so much. You've shared a ton of information. If